A wooden gun. He tricked me with a wooden gun.
My name's Jack.
Why are you speaking like that?
cute?
Why are you speaking like that?
Why am I not speaking like that? That's the question. I've
Well,
introduced myself. Are you going to introduce?
He's Jack, I'm Jordan, and we are your humble hosts for the next half an hour. However long this run, who knows? It's a pilot episode.
We're waiting for half an hour.
We're doing this one late at night.
Yeah, sorry if we ramble. Oh, what have we got?
We got,
today.
well, we might as well just roll into the meat of this with the Quicksilver design for Days of Future Past.
In future episodes, we might do like a little roll call off of what we're going to do, like a little list of what you can expect in the podcast. But this is a pilot; it's only half an hour long. You could skip to the part anyway. Yeah. So, any fan of X-Men or Marvel movies or stuff like that will know that Days of Future Past is coming out soonish this year.
Yep, this year.
Yeah.
A couple of months, maybe even.
Yeah.
Totally not fact checking on the fly.
Yep. Excuse me. Including quite a lot of stars from previous X-Men movies. So like the old classic ones from the 90s, early 2000s, and the wonderful stars like Michael Fassbender. That's the only one I can remember the name of, and I'm glad I remember him from First Class, which wasn't a bad movie.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, the continuity was pretty horrible, but the movie was ace.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it's coming out pretty soon, and I think it was Empire or another film magazine.
Empire did
Empire.
25 covers.
25 special covers. Varying.
23 were, absolutely acceptable, but they range from acceptable and, tolerable to just, pretty good.
Disgusting.
No, pretty good. That's it.
Okay.
I said 23. 26.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. I thought you were like...
Then you have the Mark II Sentinel with its Dyson vacuum sphere for a stomach, and that's sort of like where things start to get a little icky.
So I'm pretty sure if people are listening, I don't know if they're new to comics. If you are, welcome to the world of comic book. It's a very exciting place. If you do know what Sentinels are, then completely disregard this. If you don't, they are like robots programmed to kill mutants, or protect humanity. That's kind of their first program. And then spoiler alert, they don't do that, and they go evil. It's not really a big spoiler. You all saw it coming a mile away. They're quite an old X-Men thing. They were... I can't remember when they came into fruition, but it was 20th century. Might have been Golden Age, maybe Silver Age. They're very old baddie of the X-Men. Made by... Is it Bolivar Trask?
Yep.
Yep.
Being played by Peter Dinklage in this movie.
Very strange choice, but he wasn't.
But we'll get to even stranger castings as villains later on with a later topic, but that's neither here nor there.
I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember the plot of Future Past exactly right, but I think the basic gist of it, from what I remember, is I think Bishop comes back from the future. Bishop is like a mutant from the future. I really don't want to spoil stuff, so I'm just going to say he comes back from the future to give a dire warning of stuff that involves the Sentinels, and they I'm just gonna they spoiler, they rise up. Who would have thought it? And said that it has to the X-Men have to stop that. And so one of the variant covers, these 25 covers, was a Sentinel from the future, which I don't think they used the name in the film, but he's called Nimrod in all the books. I don't know if that's like an actual name or a model mark, but Nimrod was always pretty... You had to watch out for that guy. Nimrod, in comparison to the Sentinel on the cover, looks amazing, in my opinion. He doesn't look anything like Nimrod from the comics, but he looks really kind of futuristic and well done.
Menacing. Nice and dark and sleek and menacing. Pretty much. It's
Yeah.
what you want. Except, well, not from the modern slash past Sentinels, which should be purple, of course, for the iconicness, but that Dyson sphere, what were they thinking?
Call me old-fashioned, but I would have preferred it if they just went for like the 90s X-Men Sentinel, which, while kind of absolutely ridiculous, would be better on size proportion because they're kind of like 3 times the height of a man in the movie. I think that's what they're going for anyway, and Sentinels are pretty much 30 foot plus tall. Um, it also looks like something from Transformers or something.
Just a little bit.
I think they shouldn't have done the whole nuts and bolts thing. I can see why people do it because it's interesting, but it's a fatal design flaw. I don't know why you would design a robot and then leave its joints exposed. Or like the Dyson, basically like in its stomach chest area is a clear air ventilator, probably where its power source is located. That's a clear invitation to attack that. They've made it nice and sleek, which is fine, but it's just like, well, you know where to attack, rip its arms off, go straight through the chest. You can still do that with like the classic Sentinels, but they looked a bit more robust, you know, like they could take a bit more damage. Excuse me. So that's that cover.
Yeah, but so we said 25 covers, right? We've covered 24 covers.
Applause.
You are entering a world of pun hurt. Trust me, people. Either go back now or just continue on. This is the point of no return. So the 25th coloring we're talking about is a little guy called Quicksilver. I don't know if you've heard of him. Kind of the son of Magneto and all that.
Yeah, pretty interesting character in that 616 continuity. I thought he was anyway. He's a bit of an idiot nowadays, but he used to be pretty cool in the Avengers. Saved some stuff sometimes. Good guy.
And who knows, maybe he will be a good guy, like well portrayed in this movie, but they're off on the wrong foot already because
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if we probably won't put up a picture at all. I don't know where this is going.
Oh, I'm totally planning on putting up a picture.
Okay, if you do, very well, that's fine.
Your eyes will be assaulted as we're speaking right now, and your ears will be assaulted by her.
See in this picture. Now we might put like a side-by-side comparison of what what movie Quicksilver looks like and what actual Quicksilver looks like.
Very different is the answer.
Yeah. If you've ever seen Scott Pilgrim, you might think, shouldn't this guy be in there? I don't know. Well, we talked about it already, but it's just the more you look at it, you're like, I don't really know where to start. First of all, why has he got a utility belt? What possible need has he got for a utility belt?
And goggles too.
And goggles. Are they accessories? Are they practical? I can see he's got kind of, I didn't notice this before. He's got kind of little ear things. So maybe this is some way of the director saying, "Oh, like he wears goggles to protect his eyes from the intense airflow, and ear things to protect his ears from like the horrendous speeds." That makes sense, but it makes him look like a total idiot. Look at him.
It's just as if when the X-Men went for a recruitment drive, they just picked him up off of Hipster Street Central. Just like, oh, this guy, I think he runs fast. Yeah, we'll have him. He's fine.
So apart from that, obviously, things the costume looks nothing like Quicksilver at all. You didn't even need to go for like the green or blue costume with the lightning bolt across. You could have just gone for the Ultimates version. The Ultimates continuity has him pretty much in a black jumpsuit with like lines on it. They've done that in quite a few like classic X-Men movie. They all had the same costume in that movie. X-Men 1, X-Men 2, not so much X-Men 3, but even so, still X-Men 3. More 1 and 2, they just had a black jumpsuit with bevels on it.
And the logo. I mean, it worked.
It worked fine. You didn't need to put him in a little swag leather coat and the hair.
The hair is ridiculous.
Looks
Quicksilver's
like a
hair
wig.
looks nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. It's the wrong colour. It looks like a wig.
I mean, you look at him and it's like he does not scream as son of Magneto to
No,
me.
it screams guy they picked up off the street from Scott Pilgrim audition. Not knocking the movie, by the way. I've heard it's very, very good and very, very fun. But this is not X-Men Quicksilver. We was talking to one of my friends, Luke, and you can see he's like in a little running pose in this shot, and he was like, he just looks so unenthusiastic. It's like the director's like, okay, we need you to run and shot, and he's literally just statics. He's just stood still and gone, okay then, raised his arm, raised his leg, and paused. The amount of facial expression on that is pretty astounding.
So yeah, maybe the performance will be terrible as well, which, fits with the costume design.
I wouldn't expect anything higher. No offense. I'm sure the guy's great. I'm sure the actor's fine. Blame it on the, whoever chose that vile costume. So I think we've covered like the two worst candidates of this horrible costume failure. On the brighter side of things, Michael Fassbender plays Magneto, doesn't he? He is looking
Magneto.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good in his costume on the cover. He's got like a nice chest plate, pretty flash cape. The helmet is more similar. I'm really glad they've redone the helmet to look more like Magneto's helmet. One of the gripes I always had was that it just looked too futuristic in the original ones. Didn't look like Magneto's helmet at all. So he looks pretty awesome in that. Beast is as expected. He looks like Beast. People I talked to were saying, "Oh, why hasn't he got the cat face?" etc., etc. Days of Future Past is set before his. I think it might be a secondary mutation. He goes like more feline. So Beast has had quite a number of mutations over the years. So it's like the first one, I think, was he just got bigger hands and feet and he was all muscly. Then he made a formula and turned himself blue and hairy. Looked kind of a bit more like an ape, but he looked more like he does on the front cover. And then in 21st Century, I can't remember what year it was, but he got kind of a revamp. And he got like basically a cat face. I think he lost one of his fingers on each hand, so he had like paws. His legs changed so that they had that. If you ever look on an animal, their back legs kind of have an extra joint. He has those, and he struggles a lot with that, like scientifically and everything. He can't get a date for one thing, but he can't play the violin anymore. He can't do proper surgery without the assist of like robot hand tools. But anyway, that's what Beast looked like in Days of Future Past, I think. Don't pull me up on that, please. Would you like to talk a bit about the other one?
Storm's got shorter hair. That is all.
That she has. I think that's in with continuity. Just flicking through them on my screen now. Who's the military guy?
That's William Stryker.
Okay.
This will be the third different actor they've had play William Stryker, because you had Brian Cox as an older one in X2. You had Danny Houston as him in Wolverine Origins, and now you've got, I can't remember his name. I think it's Josh something, John something. Drawing a blank, but yeah, third different actor now to play Stryker, because apparently he's so complex you can't keep the same actor. Plus time differences and all that.
Bishop looks pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, they didn't fault Bishop's design in much.
He looks okay with his future gun and everything. Colossus, I'm glad, doesn't look like a complete fool. I actually like Colossus a lot, and I thought it was a real shame because he was in the first movie, second movie. I can't for the life of me remember. He was in one of them, And the role he got was like getting kids out of the mansion while it was being attacked, and I always thought that was a real shame. Um, and he even offered. He was like, "Oh, I can help you," and Wolverine was like, "No, bro, it's okay. Take the kids to safety." And I was like, "No, no, take him, please. Leave Bobby Drake. Take Colossus." Oh,
No one likes you, Bobby Drake.
it's so sad. He didn't feature much in the third movie as well, but he's a really prominent member of the X-Men. I don't know why they didn't put him in more. Um, Other news, I think Rogue was cut from the film because she was only in it for a little bit. Uh,
No real loss there. Never really liked their Rogue portrayal in that series anyway.
It was pretty good.
I disagree. It needs to be more like the animated series when she was like southern accent.
Yeah, I do. Well, she did have a bit. She did have a good accent. She wasn't just American. Oh, like standard American.
She was made very meek and weak. I felt timid in the X-Men movies.
Yeah, she was a bit. I would have preferred to see her with her actual superpowers as well. Well, I say actual, I mean like flight, super strength. But I guess she hasn't met Carol Danvers yet. Her Empire Online's being weird for me at the moment, so I can only see the tiny thumbnails. They've got Warpath in there. I think that's Warpath with the daggers. He looks cool. I don't know how he's going to be. I think they've got a few kind of future characters in there as well. Maybe that's just Pyro and Iceman. Anyway, are you looking forward to it?
It's getting harder to, maintain anticipation for this film.
Really?
In the grand scheme of things, not with these designs being unveiled. Sheer disappointment.
Half of them I have great hope for. Future Wolverine, Future Professor X, Future Magneto, Future Sentinel, Bishop. They look like they belong in the future. I mean, like old Professor X and old Magneto. Some of the other ones are. Eh. I wasn't much of a fan of what they did with Havoc. I thought it was cool as a concept in First Class, but he didn't really control his energy at all. It was just like arcs of energy, and I was like, no, I'm pretty sure he shoots it from his hands. And it's not red either. It's blue.
Exactly. He's not Scott, he is Alex.
Exactly. Toad looks alright.
Looks a bit uncanny, but there you go.
At least he's not got at least he's not got a wig on.
That's true.
I think that's there's not really much more to say about it. I look forward to it, but years ago I stopped thinking or hoping the films that would be exactly the same as the comic books, because they won't. And I think that's sad in a way. It always upsets me a little bit inside that they will never be like the comics.
You hear that, directors and producers? You're killing Jack inside.
You're making me sad, and every time I go to see one of your movies, I die a little bit more inside. Because I see that it can never be as good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Joss. I can't do it anymore. Moving swiftly on. Would you like to introduce the next topic?
Okay, so
Cry into my pillow.
from misdesigns to miscastings, possibly. Hard to say at this point, obviously, but Jesse Eisenberg of Social Network and Zombieland fame has been cast today, as of this recording, as Lex Luthor in Batman Superman, or Batman vs Superman, or for the sake of not confusing everyone, let's just refer to it as Man of Steel 2 from here on out.
Yeah. Does it got the same actor in for Superman?
It's got the same, yeah. Henry Cavill is still Superman, but obviously Ben Affleck is Batman now.
Well, I think it's going to be kind of charismatic.
That's a blessing in disguise, you know.
I
Charismatic.
I don't know how. I think the guy, what's his name? He's playing Lex Luthor.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg. I think he's either going to do. Well, it's three things. He can either do moderate. He can either astound us all and say, "Oh, he wasn't like a one-trick pony. He can't just do super funny stuff." Um, or it's gonna be like a flop.
Trainwreck Boulevard.
Yeah. I hope it'll be good. You haven't got such a super high bar, have you?
Kevin Spacey.
I like Kevin Spacey.
Gene Hackman. Those are basically your live-action Lexes.
It's not terribly high bar. Never with Lex Luthor, really. I like Kevin Spacey, how he played him. He was kind of comic booky and less serious. But it was fun.
I want Lex Luthor to be in a battle suit, though, one of his suits, because
Cool.
normal Lex Luthor in the evil business tycoon guy bores me to tears.
They always. I don't know if the battle suit was. I mean, I'm sure it was around 2006, but I don't know if it was around when Gene Hackman did play Lex Luthor.
Possibly not, but definitely
Definitely is now.
by Superman Returns, that he was definitely probably already in the whole battle suit scene.
I would like it if they worked on that, because we've already seen at least two versions of Lex Luthor with just businessman. And you can play on that a bit, but there's not really so much you can do because, well, he's a human.
Exactly, that's not a threatening villain, especially if you're going to have Batman, Superman, and not to mention Wonder Woman's going to be in the film as well. If those three team up, are you really going to have Lex Luthor in business suit as your final enemy to face?
I don't read so much Superman, but he sets up an elaborate plot. Superman busts it. Superman confronts him. If he's in his suit, he almost kills Superman. If not, he's got some kryptonite hidden away, then somebody comes in, kicks the kryptonite away, and Superman puts him in jail.
The end.
Yeah, every time. So, there's hoping he will be in the suit.
Who knows? We don't know if Lex Luthor's going to be the primary threat.
Exactly. Jeremy Irons is playing Alfred.
That's the other story to come out of this.
I like Jeremy Irons a lot, so...
You can't really miscast Alfred, you just need old British actor, and you're pretty much golden.
Jeremy Irons is 65, he's British. You've got an actor.
There you go. Don't even need to do auditions for it, really.
Just, yeah, it's fine. Cast Alan Sugar as him. It'll be alright. Master Wayne, you're fired.
Alfred, you can't fire me. You work for me.
Yeah, that's the kind of slightly less enthusiastic / happy-ish segment. I hope we don't. I don't think we have any more downers to enforce upon anyone. So far, it's just been like the pilot of slating costume design and doubting Lex Luthor.
Yeah, all I'm saying, man, is just put him in a suit.
Yeah. Put him in a suit and boot.
I'm not talking a fighting suit, not business suit. Good God, let's get our suit facts right, people.
Yeah.
A suit that kills people.
Yeah. Recent news aside.
Now let's go into comic books we've actually been reading as of late, because all we've discussed is the movies based on comic books.
Let's go into stuff we like.
Let's go into stuff we can compliment and give.
Yeah.
Give good old gooey feelings and so on. Transition.
Yep.
That's about as high budget impression as it's going to get. So, War of Kings. You have informed me that you've read it all.
I have read all of it.
You see, with me, I skipped a lot of it once I realised that, hey, wait a minute, the only ones that I really need to read are the actual War of Kings ones itself.
I thought about that. I was like, some of the stuff ties in quite nicely. Some of the stuff repeat. For some reason, there were files repeated in there, and I was like, oh. but, yeah, some of the things like the Dark Hawk line were a bit weird, but they helped to the whole story plot. I liked it. I thought it was nice. I thought it was nicely done after Annihilation. That whole kind of thing. I thought it was good to get the Inhumans. They aren't really up until recently, like in the last decade or so. They haven't really been focused on very much. They were very. I thought they were ignored quite a lot during the early 2000s. Nobody ever spoke of them. Nobody ever did anything to them. So it's nice to see them actually get a plot arc that moved them away from being people who ran away all the time, which is generally what the thing was about. They were like, we've been persecuted so much, now we're going to take over the Kree Empire. And it was like, oh, that's nice.
And of course, on the other side of the galaxy, well,
Yep.
maybe not the other side of the galaxy, we got a brat leading an empire. Spoiled brat with superpower.
Who is consequently, when his story was revealed, I really loved him, and then he went into space and became a brat, and I was like, I hate you forever now. We're talking about Vulcan, long lost brother of Scott and Alex Summers.
The
Omega level energy manipulator, severely OP. Just going to say that right now. And who has no business at all running an empire. Complete idiot. He's more childish than Diken, who ruled or harassed Lilandra previously. He's absolute absolute idiot. So it was kind of split into what I was given was. So you have like the main War of Kings story arc, which is generally the Inhumans, focusing on them and the Kree and Ronan and that kind of stuff. Then you had a Nova Corps storyline, which was really nice. I didn't really get into the Nova Corps before because their stuff was never that prominent for my comic reading in Marvel anyway.
spoiler alert, they're basically been wiped out for a long time anyway. So.
But it was fun. It was nice to see they aren't exactly a carbon copy of the Green Lantern Corps. They work quite a lot differently. The idea behind them is slightly different, but anyway.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Still pretty much. Oh,
yeah,
space
they have
cops.
similarities, but yeah.
We got space
One of
cops.
the other storylines was Darkhawk, who, at least in my eyes, was kind of one of those really old superheroes who they're like, we can bring him back for this. Let's bring him back for this. His storyline was pretty good. But yeah, it was kind of one of those really obscure heroes that were kind of popular at the time, but then nobody knew about him until years later when they did this storyline. And then they included him in cosmic events. It worked out pretty okay, and left an opportunity for stuff in the future, which was interesting. And then probably my favourite arc of it all was Guardians of the Galaxy. A movie's coming out for them soon. Let's hope it's good. It's got
segueing into a non-existent segment.
I really, really liked their storyline. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy a lot as a team. I think I liked the original ones from the future. I thought they were great. They were really good in some of the classic Avengers stuff. I'm pretty sure they were in like the Korvac saga, which is one of my favourite sagas ever. I love the saga with Michael Korvac. I thought it was great. It was before my time, quite a long time, but I thought it was really good. Have you ever read it?
Afraid not.
Okay, it's really awesome.
Do tell.
Korvac is like a guy from the Guardians of the Future's time, and he's like one of their arch enemies or whatever. I think he was just a man at first, then he fused himself with like a hovering chair, which made him part machine. And eventually he like escapes to our timeline and steals a bit of Galactus's power, and then becomes this like cosmic being called Korvac. Well, his name's still Michael, but his last name's Korvac. And then he goes about doing all this stuff and being super secretive and not showing his power too much because he knows if he did, pretty much all the like cosmic entities would gang up on him, and there's like one panel of him imagining it, and it's like Odin, Thor, Eternity, the Watcher, Lord Chaos, Master Order, and all that, and they're just like arrayed against him, and he's like, no. But pretty much, yeah, the Guardians come back, and the only one who is possible who can sense him is Starhawk. I think is it Starhawk? Or with the light arcs down his back, because he has cosmic senses. But of course, Michael was dulling those, and eventually, but he kind of picks up on him, and then he kills Starhawk basically. And long story short, they get into like confrontation. And it was really, that was the first time I kind of had a cosmic thing, I read a cosmic storyline, and I thought it was really good, especially those days. I don't think they went off Earth that much. It was, Marvel was very focused on Earth and what happened on Earth, unless it was set off Earth. They didn't really go into space so much.
Earth is boring anyway.
So yeah, they confront Korvac. Most people die in like 2 panels or 2 pages. Like the last people left are like Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, and that. And Korvac has like a girlfriend, wife, by the way, who I think is the son of one of the Eternals. I can't remember which one it is, but she's the daughter of the Eternals. And yeah, even Thor and Iron Man and that, they managed to, because he can change between like his cosmic form and his human form, and Thor manages to hurt him in his human form, and then he goes crazy to like kill them all. And then, but Thor's still like left standing, and he's like, "Oh, help me, Katrina. We must finish blah blah blahs." And like for a millisecond, she's looking at all these dead corpses, and she's like, "I don't really know if I want to do this. This guy seems pretty crazy." And then he just, sensing that like second of it, he kills himself out of grief.
Oh, grief is the...
She does, but she resurrects everyone after that. And Moondragon is there, which just happens to be there at that time. And everyone forgets Korvac after this. They don't remember him. But she was in his mind while she was doing this. And I think Korvac, whilst his methods were what he was planning was to either wipe the universe clean or vastly improve the universe in a really good way, but he was going to kill quite a lot of people to do it. But his reasoning behind it was fairly legitimate. And she's the only one who's left burdened with this secret, and I was like, that's a pretty good storyline. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy storyline in War of Kings was really nice. Had some of my... He had Quasar in it, or Quasar, I don't know how you pronounce it. He was one of my favourite characters with his quantum bombs. Got them back after Phyla-Vell became really cray-cray, and yeah, should I spoil the last part or not? I don't know.
War of Kings?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll spoil it. She likes Adam Warlock seals this massive vault. He's come back to life after being killed, and he's got super magic powers. And the way he seals it is like transferring, because it's like a massive cosmic thing. He has to shift the universe's future into one that isn't one with the fault in it. So shifts it, and Phyla-Vell stabs him, and then Gamora's all like, "Oh no, you didn't, girl," and she kills Phyla-Vell, or something like that. And then she's like, "Are you okay, Adam? Please don't die." And he's like, "I am Magus now," and I'm like, "Oh no!" And she's like, why did you shift the future to a you with a Magus?" And he's like, purple faced and all horrible and evil. And that was a good plot twist. What were your thoughts?
Well, the other ending, here, sort of the main ending, if you will, the meat ending, is where Black Bolt's whole plan is revealed.
Yep. Pretty dumb plan.
I'm not really sure what drove him to that.
I don't know. He always seemed like a pretty reasonable fellow.
Pretty sane fellow.
Yeah,
Not
maybe
willing to go to such drastic measures.
Yeah.
And then he decides, you know what, let's try and use the Terrigen Mists on everyone and see if we can evolve every single person in the universe.
He was the one who made the massive fault because he detonated the bomb. Vulcan tries to stop him from doing it, purely out of like selfish reasons, of course. But he tries to stop him, and they get blown up because they're idiots.
There's a pretty cool panel where Black Bolt screams no right at Vulcan's face and leaves him as a charred corpse. He gets back up, obviously.
Because he's OP.
Yeah, but
anyway.
it was pretty cool to see him just
Yeah,
a miserable.
awesome. Because as powerful as Vulcan is, put a bullet through his head, he falls down. He's not invulnerable at all. He's still a human. He's just a very good energy manipulator. So, it's very hard to kill him. I like
Black Bolt is the best. Anyway, so.
I really like Black Bolt. I mean, humans.
It's fascinating how they can make such an interesting character who doesn't, most days, doesn't have a word of dialogue to say.
Yeah.
Helps his mysterious character in a way.
I didn't used to like the Inhumans very much. I think they're all right now. I thought they were always a bit weird, apart from being human. I don't know. They always felt a bit.
Don't you talk about Lockjaw's the most serious character I've ever seen.
I like Crystal. All the rest of them kind of felt a bit royalist, and I was like, Black Bolt was kind of cool, but everyone else was like, oh, you've offended the royal family, now you must pay. And I'm like, get over yourself. What other story arcs were there? There's got a few in that thing.
Silent War.
Sorry?
Silent War is a story arc.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Have you read it?
I don't know. Is it to do with War of Kings?
No.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe I have that. What is it?
Well, Quicksilver stole Terrigen crystals and stuff.
I think I've heard of it, yeah.
To hopefully give mutants back their powers after the whole House of M incident. Or the aftermath of House of M. And yeah, the Inhumans aren't too happy about their heritage, their lifeblood, if you will, being ransacked like that. And it's basically a Cold War. There's a Cold War scenario between Earth and Attilan. Is how I can best describe Silent War. I mean, there is actual fighting involved, but for the most part, it's all about the lead up to what's going to happen. Is war going to kick off for real?
Yeah.
But the aftermath of it is that Maximus was leading on his brother the entire time and usurps the throne, because that's what he does.
Maximus is a character I really like. He's
great.
These days he's a lot less crazy and a lot more charismatic / scheming, which I really like about him. He used to just be the guy who was like, I'm crazy, I'm going to take over the world. And now he's more methodical, more thoughtful, more... You know, he's got real flair. I thought he was really awesome in War of Kings. And I think he's just an interesting character with his mind and everything.
He's pretty much been an ally of the Inhuman or of Black Bolt for quite a while now.
Yeah.
He hasn't actually turned villainous on his brother.
He'll probably happen eventually, and he's still out of his rocker, but I think Karnak said it as well. It's kind of like he's got something else to focus on, like building war machines for the Inhumans for their war effort, building the Terrigen bomb. He had that to focus on rather than taking over stuff, so that kept him a little occupied rather than just thrown all the time.
Is it, of course, what happened in Infinity? It's sort of a dream realised, if you will. So, Black Bolt's original plan to... I'm not sure how he came back from the dead. I don't know if that ever got explained very well. Yeah, this is after Thanos Imperative and all that. This is in the Marvel Now reboot, and this is Infinity.
Yep.
Has to be one of the best damn storylines I've ever read.
There you go.
It was really, really good. It had basically had the the two sides that you want. It had the fighting on the Earth and all that, and then it had the giant space battles with loads of alien empires that you want. So it sort of combined the best of both worlds of those
Yeah,
Earth-based storylines and those cosmic storylines.
that's awesome.
But one of the big takeaways from it was that Black Bolt actually got to activate a Terrigen bomb this time in actual, crowded space right on Earth.
Yeah, I think
Instead of out in the middle of space where it completely failed and just helped open up the fault even more.
What were the results of that?
Inhumans started popping up over the planet everywhere because there had been loads of dormant Inhuman genes in some of the people on quite a lot of people on the planet. Because it was revealed that there have been Inhuman tribes living on Earth in secret with all the Earthlings, the humans, for quite some time now. So it wasn't just Attilan's royal family and their followers that were the only Inhumans about.
It's kind of nice.
And of course, Thanos' son, Thane, is in fact half Inhuman. So
I've yet to read that. I'm not really sure what. Still not sure what's going on in Black Bolt's head, but it was like in War of Kings. They were like, "Oh, we want to do it so everybody's equal and nobody will ever be prejudiced against." And I'm like, "Well, it sounds a bit like Hitler to me."
Black Bolt is Hitler, if he never spoke.
Felt like anti-Hitler, anti-matter Hitler. Well, that we got any more topics? Or was that? I can't remember if that was it or not.
Is there anything you feel you need to bring up?
Today, really. What's your favourite character?
Such broad topics.
I could always end it by one of your favourite characters.
Black Adam.
Uh-huh. I know it's Black Adam. Why is Black Adam one of your favourite characters?
Because he's ruthless. There's a start. Yeah, that is my in-depth analysis on Black Adam's character.
Very good. Oh, yeah. I can't think of a favourite. I got loads of favourite characters. I did like the Vision a lot.
It feels like some past tense to me.
He died.
R.I.P.
And then they remade him, but he didn't have any of his personality anymore, and he was rubbish. R.I.P. Vision. You were pretty good up until House of M / Disassembled. That was one of my saddest things about that. Stupid She-Hulk. Oh.
Blame Wanda.
Wanda was pretty much innocent.
No, she was affecting everyone's mind.
I know she was, but it wasn't her fault.
Then blame Pietro for House of M.
Yeah, blame Pietro, which is another thing I get a bit muffled about, because I'm like, suddenly out of nowhere, Pietro decides to be a total bad person, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, out character moments.
What does this? What? It's the same thing with Black Bolt and the bomb. I'm like, where did this come from? When did he suddenly decide everybody should be Inhuman?
It's the problem you get when you have different writers and different artists, and then you also have characters that last for. They probably will last for over 100 years. Some already have. But no, I want to say no characters have actually lasted over 100 years yet.
I
don't think. But
part of the thing in Civil War as well. I could see where they were going, but really, it was a really good concept. And then there was just like, you'd think Tony Stark and Reed Richards, two of the smartest men on the planet, could be a bit more intelligent than that. I guess they were kind of playing on that though, because Reed Richards, very smart, so big-headed. I mean, I was reading some of like the Illuminati things now, because they went to convince like the new Marvel boy now, I guess, Novar. to be good and be on the good side, and he's like talking about Earth and everything, and he's like, people of this planet are fools. They are all stupid and they don't understand anything cosmic. And I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit big-headed of you. It's true, but he's always been a bit high and mighty and above himself. So whilst whilst I was a little sort of, well, now everybody I know and love has turned evil, and Captain America is the only waifu I can never be truly trusting in again in Civil War, I thought they did play that very well in that Reed and Tony would always be like, we're doing the right thing, totally. And they would never be able to see beyond the fact that they were pulling families apart, killing people, breaking laws, breaking human rights. I mean...
Well, Tony got guilt-tripped into it.
Yeah, Tony did, and he felt terrible after it, and I was like, that's fair enough. Reed gets off scot-free, and he's done right, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, it was all for good anyway. He does go in the end because Sue gets, like, shot, and he's like, what have I done? Or he gets shot, I don't know. Ben Grimm had the right idea. He moved to France. He was like, I ain't having any of this. Moved to France. Croissants every day, and I'm like, that guy's got the right idea. He ain't having none of this. It was a strange arc. Hank Pym was an idiot, as always.
Hello, Creative Ultron.
Exactly.
Tony Stark to me.
Smart guy, good guy sometimes, other times such. Lest we forget, these are the like 2-3 guys who built the Thor clone that killed Bill Foster, and then they were like, "Whoops, we forgot to put in that parameter that stopped him killing people." And I'm like,
dear!
Smartest man on the planet. Well done. Yeah. I feel this has become the complaining podcast.
It's pretty downer for a first pilot.
Maybe we'll just take lessons from this and we won't air this again. This episode will be the lost one in the archives. We'll just comment on things we like now and keep off the humdrum horribleness that we don't like.
I said Infinity was one of my favourite storylines in comics. So.
We just need to focus on the stuff we like, I guess. There are loads of stuff. I don't read comics so much nowadays. I prefer to read more casually now than I ever did. But the Kree Skrull, I really love. Kree Skrull War was a really nice arc.
I've been meaning to read that.
It's really good. I think it had. There might have been a bit in it. Well, I know Ronan was there. He was like, there was a bit of Ego Living Planet, that got on Earth and was like taking over Earth and absorbing it. And Ronan had like the plan to absorb all of Ego into himself and become super powerful. They had like the heroes of Earth tried to stop him. And I remember like Wanda and all the other spellcasters were at one font of the globe trying to hold back Ego with their magic. While Tony and Reed and all the smart people working on a machine that could absorb Ego. And like the Silver Surfer tries, and he's overcome, not even his cosmic thing can hack it. And then Quasar's all like, I could give it a shot, guys. And they're like, are you sure, Wendell? And then he does it. You sit day, and I'm like, such a babe.
Male babe.
Yeah, that was a really good storyline. One of the people I haven't heard of in years, I don't think anybody else has. There used to be a person called US Agent, who worked for the government and was mighty American man. He had quite a few story arcs, especially when he was like hired to replace Captain America at one point. And there's like a scene in like this whole Ego saga where Ronan's depowered and he literally beats down on him. Because Ronan's done it when he's like really big and powerful, and when he's like back to his normal thing, US Agent just like beats him with his fists, and it's just like, America!
Freedom. You ain't taking our freedom, Kreesko.
I really like that story arc. One of the other things, if you feel like reading these, by the way, please do, because they're really good ones. At least these last ones are. Not many people know about it, but the Avengers had a story arc with the Juggernaut, in which I think they were called like the Exemplars or something. They're basically, Juggernaut's like an avatar of Cyttorak, all the avatars of different gods. like collected together to try and take over the world or something. And Juggernaut was basically like, look guys, I don't want this. So they were like hunting him down, and he went to the Avengers for help, and then like got beat down by all these other avatars, and the Avengers had to fight these guys. And like the variety of their powers was so varied, it was really awesome. Really cool storyline, really cool to see how the Avengers fought them.
Oh,
How
you've
they
got
were
me interested in another storyline now. Do you know what it's called? Do
What?
you know what it's
I've-
called, or how what I would be looking for?
Avengers exemplar. It took me ages to find. I mean, it's really hard to find the book now. I bought it once and then I gave it away to my chagrin. I bought like the classic book.
Yeah, some story arcs can be really hard to find.
She's like I say, it's one of my favourite arcs, and I was like, why is this not? What? This is such a good arc. Why is it not in here? Well, this is the name of the link to your Skype. This is the name of the like team, if you will.
Yeah, Exemplars is the name of the team.
First appeared in Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man 11. I don't know why, but they did.
Yeah, you'll always find that characters have weird first appearances.
The Octessence, made up of 8 powerful principalities, like Ragador, Krakan, Cyttorak, Balthak, Watum, Voltor, that kind of thing. Magical peeps. I like that. It wasn't like... It was kind of a down-to-earth storyline with magic elements in it, and I like those. Like, as much as I like cosmic stuff, a lot of the time I just feel that people get a power boost because they're like hideously outclassed, and then suddenly Thanos is led away in police cuffs, and I'm like, what's going on here? It clearly doesn't work. So I kind of like magical elements, and whilst I like space stuff, one of the reasons I have liked Marvel Comics is always, at least it used to be far more realistic, in my opinion, than DC. I love DC. DC always had a lot of, maybe, I don't know if it's fantasy, space things. It was more Earth-based in the early golden ages. Part of the fact I think it's kind of more grounded in Marvel is that it's spaced in actual locations in the real world. Like you got New York City, you got London, all that. It's DC has some of that, but like Metropolis is fictional. We have like Wakanda is obviously not real in the Marvel universe, but they have a lot of real life locations in there.
New York.
That helped me connect with it a lot more than with DC, because I'm like, oh, I know that location. Like whenever Captain Britain pops up, and they're like, this place in Wales, I'm like, I've been there. Nice place. But yeah, definitely read the exemplars. I kind of looking on the shopping page on Google. There's not really many. I can't find a book for the exemplars. It'll be on the internet
I
somewhere.
think I've narrowed it down to it's under Avengers Volume 3. So
Yeah.
you can get like a collection of that.
It was a really big, thick volume, like at least 200 pages. It was really good. I love that saga.
I do like me a good saga.
I liked it a lot. I like a lot of old stuff. I have really good memories of a lot of old stuff. I have really good memories of a lot of the old Avengers stuff. Early 2000s, late 90s. I really liked the lineup around then. It was like Vision, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, Thor, Iron Man, Cap.
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver was in it. That was always really cool. When he wasn't an idiot.
To be fair, I think the current Avengers lineup is pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Because you got your mainstays, and then you've got characters like Hyperion, Captain Universe, Starbrand, Atom Smasher. No, not Atom Smasher. I think it's just Smasher. A couple of other cool characters.
Wait, Smasher?
Yeah, Smasher.
Is this Smasher from the Imperial Guard, or is this another Smasher?
This is... I can't remember her name. Terrible. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I'll get her up in a sec.
Oh yeah, Nova and Hercules were in the Exemplars saga as well. They were kind of cool in that.
Yeah, Isabel Kane. That is the
I
Shi'ar
thought
Imperial Guard member. Yeah, she is now an Avenger.
it's pretty much a running joke with Smasher that every incarnation of Smasher dies horribly. Smasher in like the Cassandra Nova arc dies, and he's like trying to flee from her, and he has to get out a message to warn the X-Men or humans, and he like crashes to Earth, and he tells his message, and he's like, "I can finally die in peace." And the shot zooms out, and he's just told it to a bunch of cows, and I'm like, he's great, but he's such a joke. And like in War of Kings, they have a Smasher. Got a pretty good. Like the previous Smasher died, and Gladiator's found a replacement. In like the single issue that happens, Gladiator ends up blowing a hole through the back of his head, and I'm like, he was so enthusiastic about leading stuff, and he's just dead instantly. But for some reason, the Smasher uniform is a mainstay in that Imperial Guard lineup, which has always been one of their awesomeness, but weaknesses as well. They never change their lineup at all. They always try to get the similar things in. They kind of complement each other, but yeah.
Shall we cover one last topic before we go, which is current goings on in DC and Marvel?
Yeah.
Sort of current storylines and what. So DC side of things, obviously, the big one is Forever Evil, still going. It's a pretty long. They're trying to drag it out as much as they could. I mean, if they really buckled down and got their artist in the whipping chair, got Jeff Johns in the writing chair just whipping him, they could have had this done by last year.
Please.
But yeah. Interesting stuff. Maybe not the most exciting crossover in the world, but you know, alternate evil Justice League kind of in there, done that. But there is some mystery behind it. They've got some driving questions, such as who destroyed Earth 3 and all that reality. I think it's implied to be Darkseid, and that
Probably Darkseid.
The crime syndicate's main motivation isn't just because they're from the universe where evil originated, but they're trying to strengthen the Prime universe to herald for Darkseid's coming, so they're prepared to fight. They don't want a weak. They don't want what they think is a weak universe filled with compassion and love and friendship. They just want raw power, ruled with an iron fist. And so there's all that.
You'll find that Jordan knows a lot more about DC than me. For most of my life, I haven't read DC comics.
I'll be the DC expert for these, and he'll be the Marvel expert.
I can be the classic Marvel expert, sort of. I did read modern comics up until 2007, 8, so I'm mostly up to date. Hey, I went to Forbidden Planet when The Death of Captain America came out, and I was given it as a free issue, and I was like, what have they done?
You stood on top of a soapbox and yelled to the heavens with your speakerphone.
I did. I asked why they'd done that, and of course he was resurrected, but that made me so sad.
As is almost every character.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben notwithstanding.
Exactly. Uncle Ben never gets through. He's like the one.
Uncle Ben is the living tribunal.
That's the hidden face. Uncle Ben.
I mean, well, but Peter Parker's been visited by the one above all in a storyline once when Aunt May was dying, so why not? Why did not just have Uncle Ben as a living tribunal?
Oh no. I'm pretty sure, I think She-Hulk got offered, or another person got offered to be like the fourth face of the Living Tribunal once.
The one that goes on the back.
They were all like, no, I don't want that. And he was like, oh, okay. Oh dear.
Back to Forever Evil. Yeah, it's all going to come to a head eventually because there's a couple of things that need explaining. Like, Ultraman's eventually going to find out that Superwoman's baby is Owlman's and not his.
Not Owlman.
Owlman got old Superwoman pregnant. Also, I find Ultraman's real name really dumb. It's Kal-El. Get it? Because he's evil Superman kind of Kal-El.
Buns. I can't handle it.
I think Thomas Wayne, who is Owlman, I think his origin story that they explained was pretty interesting because it's the whole alleyway thing, the alleyway scene, but instead it's like he's the one pointing the gun at his parents, and like his brother Bruce is with him, and eventually his brother Bruce starts to not agree with this plan to rob and kill their parents, and so Alfred ends up shooting Bruce. For Thomas, and basically,
Alfred is the real villain in all these things. You got to understand, he's a devil man.
Is the villain. Alfred is the outsider, and he is basically Thomas's loyal servant for some reason.
Oh, Alfred.
And they also have a prisoner who hasn't been revealed yet, but maybe not so much a prisoner, because in one of the things he was seen smiling under the sack, the bag.
Yeah.
So, who knows? I think the last main Forever Evil issue left off with Batman getting on a Yellow Lantern ring.
And, I love it when heroes get lantern rings, it's hilarious.
And he's all like, "Oh, you should beware my power," or that to Power Ring, and then, but eventually it's like, "Oh, that ring barely had any juice left, so that's done." But then Sinestro comes in to save the day, because obviously Forever Evil is all about the villains of the DC universe facing an evil Justice League. It's pretty much the gist of it.
Sounds really interesting. So I'm sure we'll have quite a lot of. It'd probably be a little more of a downer next time because there's no.
We're not finished yet.
Are we?
I haven't covered Marvel's current goings on. So.
You're going to have to be wonderful and edit this because I really need the toilet right now, so I'm going to come back in like 2 minutes.
Wonderful, we're going to take a break.
Easy.
Remember to break here.
I was trying to hold it in, but I can't.
Break here.
Icky time. Logan, we missed you. That Weapon X just hasn't been the same without you. Nobody calls me Bub anymore. And Omega Red's a bedwetter.
One day I will tear out your flipping tongue, Wilson.
He's very ashamed.
Despite Deadpool's idiocy, Weapon X is indeed pleased to have you back, Logan. We put considerable time and money into you.
And pointy things. I shot him in the ass. One of these.
Anyway,
I did.
we're back for this
We
last
just
part.
want to...
I have to remember to edit this in. This is totally unprofessional, but who cares? I'm gonna wing it so hard. So, Marvel, final note for Marvel's current goings on. We've got the Ultimate Universe is coming to an end, except it's probably actually not going to end because they can't let it go. Yeah. No matter how many and how much we go.
Is this the one with Galactus?
Yep, this is Cataclysm.
Oh, I love that when you told me about it.
So Galactus went and got himself merged with Galactus, you know, the Ultimate Universe, which is basically a bunch of killer robot swarm things, and they merged into one being. And obviously, it's had some sort of side effect on him because he's currently trying to target Earth and Earth alone. Plus, he wasn't happy about being disoriented and waking up in a different universe or coming out in a different universe.
He's never happy at anything unexpected.
You can thank Wolverine for that and the Age of Ultron fallout. So, yeah, if the Marvel multiverse ends up dying at one point, it's probably going to be Wolverine's fault. So,
what did Wolverine do?
Remember, he abused time travel to eventually defeat Ultron. But
cool. Yeah, Wolverine's not the smartest of guys.
Obviously not.
Yeah. Be interesting to see how they do that with the Ultimate Universe. I don't think it sells very well nowadays. I think if they rebooted it, it might sell well. But it hasn't been selling well for at least... Fantastic Four didn't sell well for a long time. And they cancelled it, I think.
Point is, it's probably not going to end. They're going to find a way.
Probably, yeah.
But it's the first ever Ultimate storyline that I've read. Just because, you know, they were talking about killing it all. I've heard so many bad things about the Ultimate Universe that I've avoided it.
It's you can see that outtake of breath. Not bad. It's a lot darker.
And that was their entire thing. Oh, we're going to make a new, modern, gritty take, so we're going to put
Yeah.
this in an entire new universe and have...
It's a lot grittier down under, and it's a lot darker than 616. If you're ever squeamish or you're not into that kind of thing and you aren't happy all the time, don't read Ultimate Universe. There are a lot of... It's not all doom and gloom, but there are a lot of tense things. It's much more, I guess, realistic in its things. It covers... While I'm not such a fan of the doom and gloom, it does cover a lot of important kind of idiosyncrasies / modern day-to-day life problems in there. Not like, oh, I've run out of money to buy my peaches problems, but like it tackles things like, oh, what's I describe it? Well, bluntly, tackles wife beating. It tackles incest, a subtle tone.
Well,
It tackles experimentation, segregation, fear, loss, trauma. A lot of really serious issues. It tackles them really well, but very darkly and realistically. Also tackles like alcoholism. It's a much more realistic portrayal of, like, if superheroes were in real life, this would happen. I'm personally more a fan of like the fantasy superhero thing because it's superheroes, and I'm like but it's, if you want to,
Plus we got Watchmen already.
yeah,
We really need that.
if you want a realistic thing and you're into Marvel, go for the Omnis.
It might not be around much longer, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
go for the previous things. On a brief note, I'm just dragging it out. I'm sorry. One of the good story arcs. I can't remember which arc it is. There's an arc in Marvel where it's set in the real world, and like this world, not the real world with a twist. There's a slight thing, but you know, it's literally our world. And one day, villains start coming through for some reason from the Marvel Universe. So things like the Lizard, all that. And obviously this like small town of American people have absolutely no defense whatsoever against this. So people are like guts getting ripped out by like the Lizard and stuff, electrocuted to death by Electro. And it all turns out that it's the result of this one guy. The only person in that universe to have superpowers at all is a guy who is like a comic book obsessive, is slightly mentally, I don't know, really, retarded's not a nice word, but mentally restricted, let's just say, / very, very set upon by his not very nice cohort, friends, siblings, don't know why, and he's the person who's been like warping reality, subliminally. His mind has done that to like bring these villains in. So then this kid like goes to the Marvel Universe and is like, help guys, we need to get these villains back. That was a really interesting storyline. I like that. And I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. Look it up.
The mentally special man and his amazing reality warping subconscious.
I think he goes back to their universe, 616, because he can't stay in that universe. Yeah, interesting. Anywho, should we wrap it up there?
Still got to discuss one more topic on Marvel current that I want to discuss, which is the New Avengers Volume 3 storyline, currently ongoing now still. Yep, this is what I've been craving for. This storyline, I'm just every week that I've read it, just waiting for that next issue to come out because it's got me enthralled with this giant mystery of why the hell is the Living Tribunal dead or incapacitated on the moon, and why hasn't Tony mentioned it ever since that's explained in a flashback. He said, "Oh, I'll explain it to you where I was later, guys," he says to his Illuminati members, as if telling them that the Guardian of the Multiverse being completely, totally destroyed is not an important factor right now. More pressing matter. But yeah, the whole alternate Earth incursions and the whole multiverse is coming apart prematurely because of that whole time. I think it's meant to be because of the time abuse by Wolverine back in Age of Ultron. So, once again, blame him for everything
Dang
going
it,
wrong.
Logan.
James Howlett is a stupid man. But it's a really, really good storyline, and the designs for some of the characters as well. Like, well, going back to Infinity, the builders I thought looked really cool and really threatening. They're sort of like kind of insectoid, but at the same time, they spoke authority, evoked destruction. And then these black priests who look really weird. I'm sure I'll have some images up for people to ponder and wonder about. But yeah, I think the villain designs for these new races and stuff being introduced during these new Avengers and these, well, back in Infinity anyway, I think they're really, really cool and Mysterio. As I said, it's like it's the driving answer of what's going on in the multiverse right now, what's causing it to prematurely end. Is there a figure behind this? Because this new character, Black Swan, who the Illuminati met at the start of the series and sort of have her captured, except not really. They sort of let her out of her cell every once in a while, it seems. Because they know they probably can't keep her there anyway.
What's she got to do with all that?
She's the one that Black Panther found when he went through the incursion in the first issue of New Avengers, and he saw an alternate Earth. She was trying to destroy it to make sure that the two Earths don't collide, and he brought her back. And then that was when he decided he thought it was a pressing enough matter to recall the Illuminati back in. And he's actually like sort of a full-on member this time, whereas hasn't actually been a member of the Illuminati beforehand, even though he was the one that called the original meeting in the first place. He eventually backed out and said, "No, this is obviously not going to work out. I'm not being any part of it." But now he thinks, well, the multiverse is coming to an end and bad stuff's happening. I might as well join in with these guys. The Illuminati are great.
Yeah.
Like, just the dynamic between the fact that T'Challa and Namor just hate each other's guts because of what happened back in Avengers vs. X-Men, when Namor with his Phoenix powers just laid waste to Wakanda.
Yeah.
It's like they're just teeth-gritted work. And then at the end of Infinity, Shuri, T'Challa's sister, who's like current queen of Wakanda, like banishes him after she finds out that he's been working with Namor. And this was after she declared war on Atlantis and pretty much laid waste to it, which in turn during Infinity caused Namor to mislead one of Thanos' lieutenants that the one of the Infinity Gems was in Wakanda, but he was lying. He just wanted them to go and attack Wakanda.
Yep.
Even though, they're meant to be on the same team right now. So, but there you got Beast has joined now. He's taken Professor.
Oh yeah,
Charles.
Oh, wait, poor. I feel so sorry for him. I mean, I can't remember what the original thing was. I know he died, but I can't remember how he died first.
He tried to mind control Scott, like towards the end of AVX.
Yeah, but he died before that. And then he was brought back in a thing before that. And it was in the whole Vulcan saga. It came to light that he'd mind wiped most of the X-Men into believing that first team of X-Men didn't exist. Summers, Scott's brother, Vulcan didn't exist at all, and he buried it. And he had a very hard time getting to be trusted again by any of the X-Men. They pretty much all hated his guts. And I was like, it was so sad because they always had so much respect for him. and so do I. I still do. I still did even then, because he's a great character. He's really awesome in that. And Scott was so mean to him. Every single time he was like, look, I can't help with this. I want to do good. And Scott was like, no, I still hate you. No, go away. No, you're a butt. And I was like, Scott, come on, guy. It got to the point where even everyone else was like, okay, it's fine. Well, not fine, but we forgive you. And Scott was just like, I hate you. And I'm like, for goodness sake. And then, and then Scott killed him again.
Yep.
Professor X could walk for a while when he came back. And he died, of course. The Illuminati are one of my favourite groups. They
are my favourite.
They do a lot of controversial decisions and sometimes really bad decisions, but they're always really good overall. You know.
They're a great group. My favourite.
Definitely,
Avengers are like, yep, you got your earthly team of just any time a threat on Earth arises, they're there. You got your Guardians of the Galaxy for cosmic threats. You've got Defenders aren't really sort of a team anymore, but
I like the Defenders.
Defenders were great because it's like they're just the most oddball team. Fantastic Four, cosmic threats and Earth threats are like. Trying to think of other teams now.
X-Men.
Thunderbolts, X-Men.
Thunderbolts.
X-Force. Just go into subcategories.
Factor. New X-Men, Young X-Men. There are a lot of teams. But
New Avengers.
Yeah, there was a really good gelling. Whoever decided to make the Illuminati, that was a really good move on their part. Yeah, you got Black Bolt, who was always like the voice or figure of the Inhumans. Namor has always been a great character. He's one of the best characters in Marvel, in my opinion. He's got such a good backstory and such a good plethora of history and opinions on stuff and experience. Reed Richards, pretty smart. He's really intelligent and all that. And you've got Tony, who's pretty good as well. Doctor Strange, mystical side of things. I love Doctor Strange. He's a great character.
He might be going down some dark paths.
Well, he already did in World War Hulk, and he is again.
Yep, looks like he might be going even deeper down the rabbit hole of bad juju.
He was like, he channeled, I think it was Zom, and then he was like, at the end of it, they were like, man, you okay? And because he increasingly, in like the Hood storyline, which I think was set after that, he was like, I'm not Sorcerer Supreme anymore, guys. And they were like, of course you are, man. He was like, no, really, I'm not. And they were like, well, you could probably still be it. And he was like, I don't think so. And it was that really good thing of even he himself wasn't sure what he'd become. He was like, I don't know what I've done, but this isn't good. I've used too much black magic and I don't know what's going to happen to me. And then Brother Voodoo became Sorcerer Supreme for a while. He's a lot of good storylines, Doctor Strange. T'Challa has always been good in my books. He's a lot better when he's crafty. I don't like him as King of Wakanda. He doesn't suit him at all. His King of Wakanda character is always diplomatic. He was still a diplomat as normal T'Challa, but yeah, he got a bit too royal up his own butt for a while. And then he was like waifu with Storm, and I was like, don't. Good relationship, but he always works better as a stealthy kind of character. That's his forte, I think.
And now Beast.
Who I really like as well.
Actually handpicked by Professor X. It wasn't like they didn't go and pick a replacement. He was Charles's chosen replacement. Should he ever?
He always has the best interests of mutant kind at heart, and always.
He must be the next most intelligent, if not even more intelligent.
He always has at least wise intelligent, because there are still what's his name? Stupid Quentin Blake, whatever his name is. Quentin Quire has like genius level intellect, but he's an absolute brat. Beast is smart, but he's the best kind of smart because he cares about. He's very intelligent, scientific. He knows how to deal with problems. He wants to help mutants, definitely. Especially like in the Phoenix Saga, he helps them for quite a while, and he's like, this is kind of awesome because everyone's doing better, the world's getting better. And then, like, I can't remember if it's the Avengers are like asking him to kill people, and then the Phoenix people are asking him to do stuff like that, and he's like, I'm done. This is insane. You people are way off your rocker. This is just so far from what this world is supposed to be like, and he leaves. And I'm like, that's a good character right there. Not one that will go, oh, I will destroy you, or oh, I will save everything. He's just like, those are the moments I really love in comics, where they become more human, less sort of godly save the day every time fantasy stuff, and they're like, these problems are just something I just can't deal with. This is beyond me. Putting a human element in comics really can enrich the storyline sometimes, especially with characters like Beast. We've gone really deep now.
Yep, we have rambled and segued. Man, we are made for this, clearly.
Segway's gone off. Okay, see, how many hours have we been doing this?
I don't exactly know. Probably gone over an hour, so your original half an hour
Yep,
plan
we're
was...
heading for half an hour. I think we should always head for half an hour. There's no need to head for an hour. We'll get there anyway. Because we'll eventually end up going off on tangents about what our favourite comics are, what our favourite... I could go on for another hour, but I'm not going to. About how much I've been reading up more on Avengers Volume 3, and how awesome character it had, like Triathlon. He was a really awesome character. It had what was his name? Hold on, let's see in a minute. Justice and Firestar. They were really cool together. And Wonder Man as well. Back when Wonder Man was actually good.
Oh, Wonder Man. Woe is me, Wonder Man.
It wasn't just even then he was still doing his acting career, but he wasn't defined by that. And I was like, yeah. Volume 3 Avengers was probably one of my favourite lineups of the team, especially after I think they got Hawkeye as well. I was like, I like this team. So you got like Cannonball, Black Widow, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Captain Universe, Falcon, Hawkeye, Hulk, Hyperion for a time, Iron Man, Shang-Chi.
This is the current lineup, isn't it?
Oh wait, this is the current lineup.
Yeah. Current lineup.
Well,
which is also a pretty good Avengers lineup.
Quite a few of them are in the 3rd edition. Thor's always good. I love Thor.
Shall we wrap this up with a wind down of post your thoughts in the comment section of what you think, what can we improve? Probably a lot, I imagine.
I think. Please tell us
attempt.
to stop rambling. I think next time we need to have a clear, defined list of stuff we're going to talk about for like 15 minutes, half an hour, and then we can go off on a tangent on our favourite comics, our favourite characters.
Probably get proper segments and sections lined out for this thing.
Tell us what you think. We'll probably just upload this maybe as it is, maybe with a few edits, because it's really great to actually get feedback on this kind of stuff. Because while I try to do it sort of, I mean, at the start I was trying to do it kind of professionally, and then I just ended up moaning and being critical, and now I'm just talking about the fact that I like comic books. I'm like, that's a really good storyline. This is really good in mental things and how they display human emotion, and that's getting really into this kind of interesting developments in comic books. But I'm doing that just because I like talking about it. I'm not trying to be professional at all. It's just like, I like video games. I talk about the video games because I like the video games. Anyway.
That applies to comics too.
Yeah.
So what about your friend Luke?
Luke's very into comics. He likes DC, he likes Marvel. He likes Spider-Man a lot.
Maybe I was about to say maybe we should have him perhaps sit on these at one time.
He could do.
But then you said that last bit, and I'm like, you don't want to mind. It's fine.
He likes other stuff. He's into comics. Quite a few other people on my course are, but he's probably the most into comics.
Tell you, no one on my side of the friends list I'll be able to get on this show, on this podcast, because none of them, I don't even know. I'll be like, so, you like Groot? Yeah. And they'll be like, what's Groot? And I'm like, get out.
You are dead to me. Of people I currently know, he's probably one of the people who would be most into comics, I think. Alex doesn't really like superheroes, so that's...
Yeah, we know that. He's a butthead.
Out of the water.
Dead to me.
Not many, thinking about it, not many people in my life have really liked comics apart from me. I mean, one of my friends used to like reading them sometimes. My dad likes them. He's always liked things. He has it's really great when your parents have things and they're like, "Hey man, why don't you read this?" or "Hey, have a look at this," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, so I like this stuff." He has like these really old like 60s, 70s books written by Stan Lee on like the origins of some of the superheroes and supervillains, and it's all he's got pages and pages of the actual original origin comic books, and then he's like describing what happened around that time, why he made them, what he was thinking, like that, and just his thoughts on stuff, and it's really nice. A really good series of books. I'm blessed by my parents who are well, my mum doesn't like comic books. She loves like Tolkien verse and stuff. They have a book called A Tolkien Bestiary, which is amazing. It's got like all of the classic Tolkien monsters and locations in it. That's how I learned about Morgoth / Melkor and like the Valar War and Ungoliant, and I was so into that when I was in like primary school. I was like, "This stuff's so cool, guys. Do you know about Melkor?" And they were like, "Is he Sauron?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, I hate to interrupt, but you're dancing it again.
I'm sorry. We need to end it now. Please come back next time. Tell us what we did wrong, please. Tell us what we did right.
Also, everything dies.
Yes.
That is everything dies. Everything dies. Apparently, everything dies. Till our next adventure awaits. This is the Attilan podcast machine. Riding out to the stars into Kree airspace.
Yeah.
Probably gonna get shot down.
He's on Hala. I'm in the Avengers bench on Earth.
That's why Skype reception ain't so good.
Yeah.
Copyright to Skype. Avengers Skype.
See you next time.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Avenge me.
Avenge me! No!